Yo, welcome to World Class Roux, the series where I'm going to be trying to get to World Class with Roux. We low-key have a long way to go, but we're going to get there week by week. My plan is I'm going to start off by talking about how my plan went the previous week, like what my training plan was, and then we'll get into the training plan for the next week. This is my first week, so obviously I don't have anything to recap. We're just going to be analyzing my solves and seeing, okay, here's ways I can improve and come up with a plan for this week. All right, so this is my QB session here. And you might notice that this is a little bit slower, but I was using the Rubik's Connect, which if you don't know, fantastic Bluetooth puzzle. Awful turning, especially for Roux. Maybe not awful, but definitely subpar compared to my, I think it's a Guhan Pro. I think some obvious errors we can see is in my CMLL recognition, 1.5 seconds is absurd, and LSE recognition, 1.5 seconds, that's absurd. I mean, around about there. I think it's the actual figure is 1.38 for CMLL and 1.46 for LSE. That's like absolutely atrocious, unbelievable. I would like to say that like I was trying to be certain in my recognition before executing and making sure that I did the right one. So I think that's partially why, but even still, that probably does not account for all of that 1.5 seconds, which is a huge time loss, I think. If you look at time-wise, though, second block was actually my longest step by far. If you look at my splits, if I drop second block by a second, I'm averaging 12 seconds right away. And those are more ideal splits for Roux. Typically, you want 2-3, 2-4, I think. Keymancer gives the splits in his video on how to be sub 12, which is kind of my goal immediately. Just working at sub 12 and then sub 10 and all the way down to world class. 2-second first block, not reflected in this session, but I think that's pretty doable on a decent cube. I would rather address that later. I think the most important thing for me is that I am no longer capable of trying to do just 4A and then 4B and then 4C, like EO and then LR and then that, since I know EOLR enough, especially because I taught it, and I've had to relearn it like 3 or 4 times for my own videos, which is kind of embarrassing. Basically, my EOLR is like crap, because I like had a really bad way of doing it before, and now I have a good way, so it's just really, really awful. And so I think I need to fix that, fix my CMLL recognition, because I also, I've used pretty consistent recognition for like UT, the easier ones, HPI obviously super easy. But Soon and Anti-Soon has been awful for me because I used critical cubing's recognition in the past, which is not as good because it's not all angle. It only works from 2 angles. So I'm switched to the all angle one, but it's still really slow for me. Oh, additionally, in this QB session, if you look at the move count, both of my blocks, the move count is higher than what we would be going for, especially for sub 12 move counts. We would want to be looking at first block around 7, second block around 16. That's how I got 23 for my first 2 blocks in my last video. Those are just pretty reasonable numbers in a speed solve, so I didn't want to push any crazy numbers for that. Despite the high move count for my blocks, we're just going to kind of ignore that and work on last 10 pieces, because I think if I have that down pat, it's a lot easier to address blocks. Additionally, I felt kind of, called out in Kian's video on sub 15, where he's like, the difference between a sub 20 and a sub 15 solver is a sub 20 solver, will sometimes waste moves. It'll do a U and then a U prime, whereas by sub 15, you're not wasting any moves in your solves. And I definitely tend to do that, especially in my LSE, which is why I want to lock that down immediately. So we're going to look at weak points. We have EOLR recognition, CMLL recognition, the time it takes for me to do second block, and then first block and second block move count. So that's a lot. We're going to start this week, I think, with just EOLR recognition and CMLL recognition to work on. I think that'll be enough, and I think we'll see results. I'm in college, I'm kind of busy, so I think, to be honest, this might be a little bit more than I'm able to actually commit to it, but we're going to go for like an hour a day of practice. In order to get that EOLR recognition down, I'm going to need to know how my CMLLs affect LSE, which I have learned before, but I forgot because I've been cubing on and off for however long, and I want to work on that. So that's going to be one of the things. But in order to get there, I think I need to have, you know, instinctual, immediate CMLL recognition. So the plan is to alternate between a day of CMLL recognition and a day of EOLR recognition. And the way we're going to be training that is through basically timed no inspection CMLL scrambles, and then timed no inspection LSE scrambles. So that way I have to immediately recognize and execute the case for either one, and no extra AUFs for recognition are allowed. That takes us to 4 days. There's 7 days in a week. So then we're going to spend 1 day working on just one looking CMLL and EOLR from that last 10 pieces scramble, taking as much time as we need. And then the next 2 days are going to be timed, no inspection, last 10 pieces. So I'm going to have to recognize CMLL, predict how that's going to affect EOLR to help me recognize EOLR before I finish executing my CMLL, ideally, and then finishing off LSE. That's the plan. If you want to join me on this journey, I'm hoping to have video out shortly on my channel about switching from CFOP to Roux. You know, you only need to know 4-look last layer, and you can get all the way down to sub 20 with just that. While that's not out, though, I would definitely recommend checking out Key and Mansour's videos. And even when it is out, I mean, those are just truly great videos, very inspirational to me as a creator to make really good and helpful content. So, yeah. Now, some of you all might be thinking, why is he doing this, bro? Like, did his girlfriend break up with him and now he has nothing left? Like, he's just like, all right, might as well get good at what I'm good at. No. I'm doing this because I like making these videos, and I really like just solving Rubik's Cubes. And as simple as it sounds, I just kind of want to do both of those, and this is a good way to, like, make myself do both of them, because I do not do what I want to do most of the time. And while getting faster does feel pretty good, I'm not going to lie, you know, breaking that sub whatever barrier feels good. Getting a new PB single, oh, it feels fantastic. But after a week or so, it goes away. And that's how everything is in life, you know. And I personally haven't found anything that can really fill that hole inside me, except Jesus. Godspeed.